Lee, here we go again. You're getting ready now again, once again for, I think, third consecutive game away from home. And of course, it's a long trip to Gillingham. The game is on. You've 3 players away on international duty. Just explain to your supporters why the game hasn't been called off.
Yeah, so what I'm led to believe is, with the rules, is the game obviously got rescheduled, and once you move it into an international window, then you can't reschedule the game, knowing that that's an international week. Obviously the Bradford one hasn't been rescheduled, so we've got 3 players away, so we'll have to play tomorrow night, and obviously we can postpone the game on Saturday, and they're the rules of how international football works.
What it does do, it's great for those lads, and it's good for the club to get that recognition, but with you having a real serious competitive game, obviously the squad's stretched.
Yeah, it is stretched, but we're also delighted to have players going on international duty. It's not only just through the first team, we've got players throughout the 18s, one with Scotland, Max, Callum Aggius with Wales, we've got Zabby Smith who's been away with Australia, and one or two others. So, you know, it's always good for the club, shows we've got good players. And I think I mentioned earlier on in the season when we had players go, if you sign good players, you run the risk of them getting called up for international duty. You have to get on with it, as simple as that.
One thing that was noticeable at the weekend, you added 2 more youngsters to your first team squad who were on duty, and Sean Lawton and Max Holacek. I know that Max and Sean have been around the first team setup before, but when you put them all together and what you've done this season, you're asking a lot of your young players, aren't you, to step up?
Yeah, we are asking a lot of the young players, but we've also got to stick to the plans we've put in place for these young players, and how we're going to introduce them to the team and what minutes we expect them to get. So it was a real positive, and for Matt's to get on the pitch, I thought he was fine when he come on, apart from slipping over a couple of times at the start. But that was just probably down to a bit of excitement. But obviously we didn't just put him on the pitch to think, you know, we'll give him a go. It's time for Matt. We actually, how he's been performing, how he's been doing in training could influence the game, and I thought he showed some really good touches, and with more game time, being around the first team squad more, that can only get better for him as an individual, and then better for us for a team. Sean's obviously been out on loan. You know, we needed an extra body onto the bench. In an ideal world, we could have Sean Lawton out on loan still, but at the minute we're going to need the bodies.
Of course, what you've been striving hard to do and working hard at is what you called at the weekend being shot shy, unfortunately. But it's not for the lack of trying, is it? The things that you're having to go out and working out on the training ground. How do you think the players are just going through this patch at the moment? Because only a couple of weeks ago you'd improved your goals for column.
Yeah, we'd improved that, and the stats that I mentioned had gone up. Obviously we're playing, you know, top second and third in the league, which is always going to be difficult, particularly away from home, but I'm not using that as an excuse. We've got to show more confidence in and around 30 yards out from goal, get them shots away. You look through the goals that we do score, it's players being on the move and showing aggression in and around the areas. So we've just got to stick to what we're asking the players to do, and then they've got to execute it better. That's the message we're giving to the players, and I don't want to go away from the messages we're giving the players, because we're trying to build, and it's had a little impact maybe on our entries into the final third, into the box, which I can feel the fans' frustration on Saturday from that. We're playing 2 good teams away from home. On another day we could pinch one, certainly at Stevenage. But no, we have got to improve in that area, and it's in an area that we've had to improve on throughout my time as being manager. And I think there's been some ups with it in terms of getting a couple of goals in games and the chances we created. We've just got to keep reiterating the messages and give the players the confidence to go and execute it.
You've got 11 points sort of gap from the side that is in the second position to go out of the Football League, but there's no room for complacency, is there? There's no room for, you know, letting standards drop, and I know how you work, that has to be the case. Yeah,
that's not me anyway. If I feel the players are looking at that and using that as an excuse, or got the minds thinking about something else, for one, they won't play, and they'll get swiftly reminded that we're representing this football club, and every game's as important as the last game, regardless of when it comes in the season.
It can quickly change, can't it? If you do, you know, well, if they do drop their standards, you can get involved, and you can quickly drop down the league. On the other side of the coin, get the results, you quickly go up the league.
Yeah, and I think the players know that. The teams below us are fighting for their lives, turning out some victories and some draws to keep themselves in the mix. But we've got to concentrate on us, and you've said that a lot. If we win a couple, we go up. Well, we've got to do that. We don't want to. I'm not sure how often we've lost 3 on the bounce this season, if it's happened at all. So we don't want that to happen. It's going to be a tough game. We've depleted numbers, but we want to be there and be counted for.
Just going on to the game, you've played some different styles and different systems in the last 3 games as well. What are you expecting from Gillingham? It's a much changed unit from when they came up here. I think it was in October.
Yeah, they've recruited well. The manager has had the backing in that sense throughout the transfer window. He got the players in he wants. They play within a style. They're very well drilled. They all know their roles. There is in terms of their formation, they're probably as good as you'll see in terms of setup without the football. And probably their season could have looked a little bit different if they had the players they've got from the start of the season. So it's going to be a tough game. It's always a tough ask to go to Gillingham, but we've got to concentrate on what we've got to improve on and how we think we're going to hurt them as well as stop them.
Let's look at players that weren't available at the weekend. Where you're up to now? Let's first of all pick up an update on Ryan Finnegan and Tariq Uwakwi. Yeah,
Tariq's going to be another week, we feel, before we're going to see him again. So that's a disappointment. Ryan, we will get the full extent of that by the end of this week. I'm hoping it's a couple of weeks rather than a few weeks. So he's got obviously 2 players there that are a big miss for the team. Rod has picked up a slight strain while he's been ticking over, which is so unfortunate, and it's just the way it's going at the minute. So we're not going to see him for a couple of weeks. Longies, we joined training this morning. Zach Williams is working hard to gain his fitness. Charlie Finney is out on loan, but he's had a couple of knocks, but hopefully he's going to be okay. So yeah, we're short. We're very, very short at the minute, but we get on with it.
Just one other, Sean Robertson.
Sorry, Sean. Yeah, he's not very well at the minute. So we're going to have to see how he is overnight for him to be involved, but we're hopeful he can be involved.
And just back to Longy, then out on the training. Is he scheduled to do a bit more now and get sharper and get...
Yeah, the plan is to introduce him into full contact training as quickly as possible, based on what the sports science and the physio team say. You know, I'll always be led with that. So it's good to have him back. He showed some quality within what we've done this morning. He's chomping at the bit, so hopefully he's not too far away.